Are you ready? That's you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Worst intro ever.
Yeah, we're professionals.
Yeah, we don't care. Jon Peckman Podcast, Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance, beautiful downtown Portland, Connecticut. Come over the bridge, go through one satellites, pull a Yui. Park in the street in front of the music store with the red neon light. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, unless you live on a peninsula or whatever.
You could still have neighbors.
Yeah.
It just means you're surrounded by water on three sides.
That's right. Peninsula. This must be my lucky day. Do you know what that is? All right, we'll get to that. All right, sorry. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Be on the show with me. Have your own podcast here in our beautiful studio. Dave will tell you how we are here today with Matt Starr. Been here before. Been a while.
A while. Was that my first question? Do I know where that quote is?
Yeah. This must be my lucky day.
Right. No.
Little Rascals. Isthmus.
Oh.
Use the word isthmus in a sentence.
Right.
This must be my lucky day. Yeah. Yeah. Never mind. Peninsula. What's the difference between an isthmus and a peninsula? Am I even saying that right? Peninsula?
Yeah.
Peninsula. Peninsula.
No, not chula.
Yeah. No? All right.
Sula. Unless you got,
Peninsula.
if you're learning your words from stymie, then maybe you
peninsula. Okay. All right. Yeah. It's just going downhill pretty fast. I didn't expect it to. I thought we'd get a few minutes in before
right.
nonsense.
Mrs. Crabtree,
Yeah.
there's something heavy on my heart.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Mrs. Crabtree. Yeah. All right. Well, in case you... So it's been close to 3 years, I think, or something like that. It was in the double digits. Matt was a guest pretty early on in the double digits, and I don't I don't know all what happened between now and then that would be of interest, but we're going to find out.
Yeah.
Matt plays drums.
Sort of.
Well, no sort of about it.
Mostly.
Mostly, yeah. Drummer. What else? How else would you like to be defined at this time?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, well, drummer, producer,
Sure.
career coach.
Hey. You know what I'm saying? I could use that.
Yeah. That's about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's enough.
Yeah.
Also, John Best Jr. is here.
In the house.
Off camera, in the house. I'm here. He's here. Yeah.
He is the true rock and wrestling connection, actually.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And John Best Jr. has been a guest too. You know, he has been. But so what have you been up to? If we can think of, if I could look it up, but I can't. I don't have my phone. When you were last on?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what I was doing. I was probably playing with Ace Frehley at the time.
Yep.
And then have we done the Alice Cooper tour?
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah.
The drummer for Ace Frehley.
Yeah. And I did a couple records with him since then. So,
Wow.
played on 5 total.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
In how many years?
10.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not good at math, but that's like an album every 2 years,
Yeah.
right?
Nailed it.
Is that right? I don't have my abacus,
Yeah.
so I don't really know. But yeah, that's cool. What's that like? Making records with Ace.
Oh, it's easy. Yeah, it's really laid back. It's one of those things where, you know, I grew up playing to Kiss records and then to that solo record from 78. So then you get in the studio with the guy and it's like he does a thing and then he goes, and then it goes like this. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I like that. Oh, I'll just do that thing.
Sure.
Because I've been playing to that thing.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah. And interesting with him, we never recorded with a bass player.
Oh, wow.
And I would say like, oh, you know, what are we going to do about bass? And he, oh, you know, I'll play bass or I'll get somebody to come in. But he's like,
So just you and him?
Just me and him and the engineer.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah. And it was cool, actually, because you can, you know, he's the guy. So I can really lock into his guitars. And then the bass comes in later. But he said that's how he did all his records back in the day. It goes just me and Anton.
Wow. Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
that's the way they did it even then.
Yeah.
So he's used to doing it like
Yeah. Yep.
that. Hey, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. He's got an amazing 72 P bass. It's like super light.
Yeah.
It just sounds like awesome.
That's cool. So he plays bass on most of his stuff.
Probably about half of it. Yeah. There's been different guys, you know, Willie back in the day. And then some of the records we did, Chris Wise Chris plays with the Hollywood Vampires and was with the Cult at the time.
Nice.
And yeah, I don't think he's had many outside guys. I think Gene Simmons played on a song or two a couple records back.
Yeah, that's far out. Was it? Does he have a lot to say about drums?
No, which is a testament, I think, to being on the same page. But then the ideas that he has are very specific, and then I do them, and I'm like, yeah, that actually is great.
That's cool. So he knows what he wants.
Yeah. He says, when he says, and then I know what he means when he goes, okay, do your Bonham thing. What he means is Kashmir. Gish, boom,
okay, yeah. So you gotta know.
Don't go. He's like, no, not that.
Yeah,
not that.
Yeah, that's Lonely as the Night.
Right. That's other stuff. Yeah. I did. We had a song called Rockin' with the Boys, and they had demoed it. They had a drum machine on there, and the whole song was just doom, 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 which worked for most of the song. But then there was a breakdown after the solo, just vocals and drums. And so, I go, okay, I'm gonna do flams on that. Like I know that because there's nothing. So I'll go boom, brat, boom, boom. But it needed something, so I just went doom, grat, doom, doom, grat, doom, grat, doom, doom. Just something, just right?
Yeah.
And afterwards, I hear,
you hear the talk. Hear the talk
back, and Alex goes, that was good. And then Ace is in the background. He goes, yeah, it sounded good, but you did this like skippy thing on the bass drum.
Yeah.
I go, oh yeah, that was my Tony Thompson. I go, you didn't like that? He goes, nah, we don't want Tony. We want John.
Right.
So I go, all right.
So everything 8th note, nothing in the 16th.
Exactly.
That's funny.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which, that's, that's him listening going, that doesn't sound like me.
Right.
It's not something my song would do.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Well, he would know.
Yeah, right.
That's
exactly.
Cool. Yeah, that's kind of wild. Was it, when you actually play with them, was it as easy as you thought? Like you say, we learned to play, to records and stuff. Was it just like, oh yeah, it is actually that easy? Was it any different when you actually play with him?
No, it was super easy. His pocket is huge, and he plays back.
Yeah.
He doesn't get excited.
Yeah.
At least his right hand doesn't, you know what I mean? So I would just listen to him, and over the years, I just ended up having him and drums in my wedge.
Yeah, right.
His guitar's super loud, and I would just lock in with that right hand. And it was easy.
Yeah, that's cool.
And there would be nights where he'd do a little lick and I'd do a little thing, or I could feel we were more connected. And then after he'd go, you were great. We were great tonight. And I'm like, okay, he really.
So he knows that.
Yeah, he knows
that you're hearing him.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Not currently doing that gig.
No, not doing that. And so, yeah, played with him for a few years. I'm sure I did some other stuff in between, but I can't remember. And then last year played with a band called Kicks.
Oh, hey.
Which is a Baltimore band. And
what was their big hit?
Don't Close Your Eyes was the power ballad, which was obligatory.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Sure.
A really good song, kind of Aerosmithy.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that was a lot of fun. So their drummer Jimmy, who was a favorite drummer of mine, had a heart attack the year before.
Oh boy.
And then he was about ready to come back, but he wasn't quite ready, and they didn't want to cancel shows. So their guitar player Brian called me and said, hey, would you want to do this?
Hey, that's cool.
And so that was fun. That was a completely different gig because I've been playing with Ace for so long, hadn't had to learn any new songs.
Yeah.
Or if he goes, hey, we're going to put, Love Gun back in the set. It's like, okay, I've known that since 1980.
No, the minute you said those words, I put it in the...
Right.
Yeah.
So with Kicks, I knew some of the stuff, but Jimmy has a way of, he's got very specific kick patterns, and then they will evolve over the course of the song. And in the second verse, there's a little extra thing, and then he does something later that's a fill.
Tony Thompson.
Yeah. He's got his whole thing, and it's very specific. The music is super percussive, so, I wanted to learn all that stuff right. And that gig, like Ace's, no in-ears, monitors, everything,
Wow.
Ace has got 3 cabs, four going. The other 2 guys have full stacks, and then bass is 2 810 cabs on the side of my rig. So it's that, which I grew up on that, so it's fine.
Sure.
Kicks was in-ears, no monitors on stage.
Oh wow.
Nobody.
Yeah.
So guitars are live. I mean, you know, they're real amps and they're stage volume.
Oh,
But I
okay.
didn't have any of the thunder that I was used to.
Huh.
So with Ace, I'd have 2 wedges, like one in the corner.
Yeah.
And I did the Alice Cooper tour. First time we got on, the monitor guy goes, okay, so he goes, we got you the Texas headphones.
I was gonna say yeah.
And as soon as he said that, I was like, I know exactly what he's talking
Yeah.
about, but I'd never heard that before.
Yeah, the 2 wedges. Yeah.
Yeah.
Texas headphones.
So
Yeah.
like a lot of volume, you know, and so kicks was none. Everything was in ears, but it was interesting because I had my own mixer. So then I'm like, wait, can I high pass filter the guitars? Can I? So
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
started
yeah.
EQing and mixing and
yeah.
and then I really got that dialed, and it was cool because from night to night it didn't change. Didn't matter what the room was.
Yeah, that's
You know,
Yep.
you do sound check.
Yep.
It's empty.
Yep.
There's a lot of bass, blah blah blah, and then they fill in and it changes.
Mhm.
It just wouldn't change.
Right.
So that was cool. I liked the challenge of that. You know.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I made my own in-ear rig years ago, and then realized, oh, hey, consistency. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's cool, because a lot of times you play that acoustic instrument, drums, you depend on what it sounds like in the room.
Right.
And then I play differently if I can't, and then I'm like, oh, for the first time ever, I can just pick up where I left off last night
Right.
with a little bit of tweaking, and you're like, all right, I'm back.
Yeah.
It's cool.
But I found from doing that, I like to fiddle with stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not eternally dissatisfied. You know, I'm always like
Yeah, you are.
happy and yeah, right. But I like to just tweak and so like with the mixer I could do that. But even with like, you know, not having a mixer gig, you're playing and you're like,
Yeah.
you know, levels are cool, but you got to find where the snare is, or you're hearing it off the back wall, and like,
Yep.
and I like that. That kind of gives my mind something to to occupy it. You know,
Sure.
I like a little bit of something to kind of push against.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, at least this is something to push against, but you got some control over it. Not totally at the mercy of
Right.
the monitor guy or the room or whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that was cool. It was interesting.
And
You
how
know,
long did you do that?
that was a couple months.
Nice.
Yeah. And then Jimmy came back, which was, you know, amazing. And that's the thing that happens like with these gigs. It's like, okay, you know, you played with Kicks. That's so cool. They're awesome. It's like, yeah, totally. They were all great. It was so great. But then we did the last bit of the tour I did was Monsters of Rock cruise. So we had 3 shows, and Jimmy was going to play 2 songs at the end of each show.
Okay.
And so the first time back, he hadn't played on stage in like 6 months.
Oh, wow.
So like I'm on the side of the stage, all the wives, you know,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
wife,
yeah.
Jimmy's wife, Steve's wife, everybody's there. You know, there was tears.
Yeah.
It was like you're rooting for him, but you're also like, you know, this is like serious stuff.
Yeah.
And he played great, and it was just an amazing experience, you know, and like watching a fellow drummer and a guy come back and
Yeah,
take
yeah.
his chair back, you know.
That's cool.
It was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a cool experience.
Yeah. And you were there.
I was there.
That's cool. Where does I've never been on one of those rock. Who else was on that? The rock cruise.
Striper. Was Tesla on that? Yeah, Tesla.
Wow.
There's probably like 30 or 40 bands.
Really?
Yeah, Queensryche.
On one boat?
Yeah.
Plus passengers?
Yeah.
That's a big boat.
It's a big one. Yeah.
Huh.
When they say you need a bigger boat, they got it. They got
40 bands?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it'd be cool. It was
That's
like
crazy.
I took my son to the first concert that he's been to a lot of my shows, but he's backstage, he's on the
Yeah.
side of the stage with my wife. So I was going out, kids were going to bed, and it was like 10. My wife was like, you know, what are you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna go see Striper. And then my son's like, can I go with you? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we went to the show. They were great, as they always are. And then the next day I'm in the elevator and I saw Robert, the drummer. And I was like, hey, man. I go, you sounded great. He's like, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, is this your son? Hey, buddy.
Yeah, yeah.
And then after he walked off the elevator, my son was like, you know him? And I go, yeah. He goes, how do you know him? And I go, well, you know, he's a drummer. I mean, we just, you know,
Right,
we all
sure.
kind of know each
Yeah,
other.
we're also on a boat. You know, we're going to eventually know each other.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's going to swap wives or whatever eventually.
And once you get it in international waters. you
Right.
know,
Yeah, anything goes.
anything goes.
Yeah.
But I realized that he had only seen Robert from the front of the stage.
Oh, right.
So to him, he was this god.
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he knows Ace Frehley. He sees Ace. Hey, Ace. You know, it's like no
Right,
big deal because he sees him at the hotel. He
that's
sees
funny.
him in the dressing room, and I just realized, you know, the power of the stage, the
Yeah, right.
lights, the drum riser, the smoke, the sound.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so he just saw that as, and you're like, but that's what I do. But
Right.
he doesn't see you
But
as
that's
that. He just
me,
goes,
and he's
"Daddy's
like,
up
"Can
there."
I have
Yeah.
some water?" You
Right,
know?
right. That's funny. Wow, that's cool. 30 bands. I'm still hung up on that.
It might be. It might be more.
So did they play? Who goes on at 4 a.m.? Like how does that work?
The less popular bands.
Is there 24 hours?
There's bands probably from 6 until like 2 in the morning, and there was a big theater, small theater, and then like 2 main deck stages.
Okay.
And they kind of stagger them, you know, so
Yeah,
you if you want to see
So
everybody,
yeah.
you can catch it.
Yep.
But no, I mean there's music going all the time.
That's crazy. You could literally, like 17 bands could fall overboard. No one would even notice.
You'd still have
Yeah, they'd be
yeah.
like, "Oh, hey, whatever happened to like who would fall over that we wouldn't even notice?" I can't think of 30 bands ever,
Right.
like in life, let alone on one boat.
Yeah.
It's got to be somebody that no one cares. If they Winger?
No,
No.
they would care.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, anyway, that's not a cool question. Who would we not care? That'll be my new rapid question. What band would you throw off of a ship?
Right.
With what band would you not care if they weren't?
Yeah, a band that like you'd think would know how to swim, maybe. Like the guys from the Village People, you know, they
Yeah,
had
right.
the sailor,
Yeah.
didn't they?
Yeah,
At least the cop, maybe. He'd
right.
know how to swim.
Imagine. Yeah, sail. Let's see you sail now.
Yeah, Christopher Cross.
Yeah, there you go.
Can go sailing.
Yeah, go sailing. That's funny. So Kicks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if were you playing with Mr. Big when you were here last? Maybe not. I don't remember.
No, we were done. So I played with them 2014 to 18.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that
Okay.
was about 5 years.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
And I did. Did we start that in COVID? No, but doing a record with Mike Watt,
Oh yeah.
bass player,
right.
Minutemen, Stooges, and
That's wild.
and Alex Kane, and it's like there's 4 pieces of music. Each one is like 10 to 12 minutes,
Whoa.
and I'm barely playing a drum beat. I'm just like, I don't really know how to explain this. Totally, improv, experimental
Wow.
stuff. So that's been cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, that's something different.
You got to do that in person. No?
No.
Really?
So Mike
How do you improv?
Mike put down bass. There's the click is at 60. Sometimes I would have it in and sometimes I wouldn't because it would be distracting. And he does his thing. And then Alex was in a band called Live Sex Death. And so Alex would put his guitars in there. And then I tried to first like listen and not chart it, but just map it. And I'm listening and I'm like, I just need to play to this. I'm just going to react.
Yeah.
You know, so I'd go in the studio, okay, put up the first track, and then just do a thing. And if something went by and then I realized, oh, it goes here, okay, I'm going to actually change what I'm doing because I thought it was going to, I might go, let's go back a little bit, but I'm literally just reacting to what they're doing.
Wow.
And it was cool. Yeah, it's definitely like a mature gig.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did he find you? Mike Watt, that's kind of
I
wild.
found him because there was a Ultimate Jam Night, which is a thing we used to do in LA
Gotcha.
every week. And so I just started reaching out to players, and Mike was one of those guys that go, I got to get Mike in here.
Yeah.
So Mike came in and we did a Stooges tune, and I put the bands together. So I thought, I need somebody who's really good, but kind of crazy too, because it's that thing and you got to just not play it. You got to play it right,
Yeah.
And I thought Alex, and so we played the Red and the Black, Blue Oyster Cult, which
Yeah.
Watt is a big
Oh, really?
BOC fan.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
and
funny.
so we did that, and then I think we did another one too, but it was great. We just had a good time, and then Alex, I talked to Alex, 2 years later. He goes, I'm doing this record with Watt, and I go, who's on drums? He goes, well, I was thinking about you. I go, well, yeah,
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Kind of wild. Mike Watt.
Yeah.
Right? Junior's impressed.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
And then, so Mike's out with Porno for Pyros
Oh, wow.
now with him and Perkins.
Yeah,
have
yeah,
been
yeah.
buddies forever. So,
Sure. Yeah, that's kind of wild, huh?
yeah.
So Porno was who was on bass back in the day?
Well, who is it?
Martine Lenoble.
Okay. And then Chris Chaney's been
See,
doing
Junior
it, right?
knows.
He'd been doing the Jane's Addiction.
Okay.
Because Porno for Pyros wasn't a thing because Pete was in rehab and he's been clean for a long time now. And
Mhm.
he's proved himself or whatever. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now Chris got the gig with AC/DC, was just announced.
Oh.
So I'm guessing Chris
yeah.
probably would have done the Porno gig. And then so that's why Watt is doing it.
Gotcha.
I'm just guessing on that little piece. But
Yeah,
Chris
yeah, yeah.
definitely is doing the AC/DC
That's
dance, which
heavy.
is like, yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
I didn't hear what was up with Cliff. What
Just
they're getting to that point.
yeah, just didn't want to go through the tour
Wow.
schedule, you know what I mean? Do
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah.
That's wild though.
Yeah.
So you got an in. Now you got an in to that gig. You're going to see them when they come through.
Yeah, probably, and well, my buddy Matt Log is playing drums too. So that's like, it's funny. They got like two LA guys
Yeah, right.
in the band with AC/DC.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And
yeah,
Matt's perfect. Matt's one of those. When I first saw Matt play, I was like, man, he plays like Phil Rudd.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
know.
Hey, that's cool.
So yeah, he's perfect.
Well, I think that's kind of what happens with, I guess the word that I hate to use this word, but this is the word I hear real people use is like legacy acts,
Right.
like AC/DC. But like the thing is, like, if there was a period, I remember this first happened with McCartney. Nothing against anybody that Paul McCartney had in the 80s or 90s, but those are peers of his.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to improve the parts or whatever,
Yeah.
like the players in his band. And then all of a sudden enough time goes by, then you get, the guys in McCartney, you get Abe and Rusty, those guys in McCartney's band, they're like us. Like if you're going to do the Ace Frehley gig, you're going to play it.
Right.
You're not going to go, well, I'm going to funk it up.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to put my spin on it. No, you're not. I mean, you put your spin on it in your own way, but it's like if you're a fan of the music that you're playing, and I would imagine with AC/DC at this point, that's why those cats are like, well, yeah, I'll do the gig and going to make it be what it is.
Right. You're not trying to get nothing to prove.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And plus they're just fans. Like I'm just thinking, they get old, AC/DC gets old enough. We're all children of them. So it's just like, I'm going to play what I would want to hear if I was at the gig.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to do anything stupid,
Right.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah. 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 I think, part of it is just, if you're a hired guy, it's like you just do the gig, first
Right.
of all, whatever that is,
Right,
even
right,
if they've
right.
strayed from the old
Sure.
school thing and you go, okay, well, what you're doing this now, all right, I'll do that. But also, yeah, that you're not trying to put your stamp on it. That I've been asked that, like, well, how do you get you in there? Like, how do you be yourself? And I'm like, well, I'm me. So
Yeah.
even if I play a Zeppelin tune or I play a Kiss song
Sure.
or it's me playing drums. So that's the me in there. I don't need to do,
Gotcha.
I don't need to go da-doodle-doo in an
Yeah.
AC/DC song. Like,
Right,
that's
right.
not appropriate. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. It's kind of cool. That's wild. The AC/DC gig.
Right. Who knew that was a gig? You know what I mean?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's not a gig.
Yeah.
Crazy. What's next? You don't know. Nobody knows.
I don't know. No, I'm doing a bunch of records right now. The Ace record comes out, I think we're in February now. I think it's coming out soon.
Mhm.
And I'm on, I don't know how many songs I'm on. A lot of times with him too, it's like, sometimes there'll be vocals, but a lot of times I'm just playing to guitar.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know the song. I don't know the name. He doesn't know it.
Oh, wow.
There's no lyrics. And obviously you can figure out where the chorus is and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
verse and everything, but
Yeah.
I just play, and occasionally I'll listen, after I go, oh, all right, I remember that. And it's funny when you listen to yourself, but you don't remember.
Oh, yeah.
So you're like, oh, yeah, that's cool. That the drummer did that. I would have done that. It's like, well, yeah, it's you.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. Oh, that happens. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. You went to NAMM.
I did.
Yeah. What was that?
That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I was saying to Dave, I haven't been there probably 5 years or so, just because of like touring stuff, and then COVID and all that.
Yep.
And it was great. It was good. I mean, I always liked it. In LA, it's
I've never been.
It's in LA. It's a thing like people go, oh yeah, I got to go to NAMM. And it's like, well, don't go then if you're gonna complain.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like they're going, but they're too cool to go, but they're still going.
Yeah.
But it was nice to be there. It was good to see everybody, and it was cool. And it was it was smaller than it's been, but I felt like usually when I'm there, I have to go to I have maybe a signing at Ludwig, and then I'm going to Peisty, but I had less of those because a lot of those companies weren't there.
Right.
They were in the building, but just doing meetings, like just doing business, but not a big display.
Right.
So then when I walked through, I found myself like going to different booths and checking stuff out.
Right. Unlike
the previous years,
yeah.
you're just trying to like not get lost.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. So I guess it's going to change, or it is changing.
It is changing. I don't know if it'll come back,
Yep.
because if these companies figured out like, hey, we could do about the same amount of business without having to spend all this money.
Right. That's
then,
what they were saying.
That's what they're doing. But yeah, it was fun. I played with Phil X at a booth, X5, which is a company that does, they do like a lot of accessories and a lot of electronic stuff, and I use their in-ears.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so, yeah, we jammed and with Marty O'Brien, who Marty, shout out. So Marty plays with Daughtry,
Okay.
and Daughtry's got the #1 rock tune
Hey.
in the world. And it was funny because he posted last week and he goes, the song's at #2. And so I go, do you mean I played with a #2? I said I played with that chart-topping bass player last week. And he goes, well, no, it's just #2. But this week is #1. I go, see? I told you.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So shout out to Marty.
That's cool. It can happen.
Yeah.
I've heard.
Somebody's got to be there.
It does happen. Did you ever go to NAMM, Junior?
No, we were talking about doing it, you and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's someday. Yeah, I never been.
Yeah.
That Ace album comes out Record Store Day.
Oh, okay.
4/20.
See,
June. Oh, so it comes out in April.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay,
So,
Junior knows. So the new
There you
Ace album.
yeah. And he's already got like 12 or 15 variants, different colored
Oh, really? That's his
alternate
thing.
covers, different colored vinyl, because the
Yeah,
Kiss
yeah.
fans are collectors,
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll get every single one.
They will. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. I don't know what else. I had. I'm trying to think. I had questions, but now I can't remember
Peninsula.
because we're here late. Yeah, no, there's no question about that. Peninsula. How do you like being back in Connecticut? It's okay.
It's okay. It's good. I mean,
Yeah.
it's good for the family. It's like one of those things where you get older and you go, this is good for everybody, and so yeah, it's been good. And like, I was worried that it was going to affect work, but
No.
it hasn't affected work, And then every time I'm in LA, I'm like, oh, you're back. It's like, yeah, you just get on a plane,
Yeah. Right.
get
right.
on a plane and then you can have lunch in LA.
Right. Well,
You
you
know?
did. I guess you did all the work. Pounding the pavement or whatever, making the scene.
Yeah.
for
20
long enough.
years.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And a lot of people, a lot of those people are in Vegas,
Right.
Nashville, or just went back home
Yep.
wherever they're from, and
Yep.
because they get established and then they just need an airport.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Never thought that would happen.
Right.
Right. Back
Yeah.
in the day.
Yeah. I mean, I think technology's had a big thing
Mm-hmm.
to do with that.
Yep.
And I think again, like if you're young, I would say go to Nashville or go to LA.
Yeah.
Go to a city and
You
be
wanna
there.
meet
'cause you-
everybody.
Yeah, because you got to be out and about and just start developing those relationships.
Yeah.
But once you have them, just stay in touch and
Yeah.
and get calls.
I would hope so. Sounds like it makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah. Working with Tracy up
Yeah.
on deck.
yeah. I love recording with Tracy on Deck Sound Studio. Every time I tag, I was on Deck Sound Studio or Studios. He goes, well, you always say Studios. He goes, but it's Studio. He
Oh.
goes, but I like Studios because it makes it sound like we got a bunch of
Yeah,
places.
yeah,
I said,
yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, love recording drum tracks. I recorded the previous Black Swan record there, and sounded great.
Yeah. Always sounds great up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We've had that conversation.
Yeah. I mean, some drum rooms. Some rooms just sound great.
Yep.
And I know he had that room designed. It wasn't like he just lucked out, but even still, you get in a certain rooms, you're like, yeah, it's kind of dry, or
Yeah.
but his room sounds great.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. What do you? What? Well, I don't know. What kind of? What would be? I don't want to say your ultimate gig, but like, what do you have in mind? You don't know. What would be next?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just bigger.
Yeah.
Always bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, the ultimate thing would be playing with Jimmy Page or Tony Iommi. I think.
Sure. Yeah.
Or any of those bands that I grew up on that are still doing well. I mean, Kiss has retired.
Yeah.
If that would have been one of them, AC/DC, Bon Jovi.
Sure.
Those arena bands.
Cheap Trick. What was up with that?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Right. Yeah, I got to ask Dax, actually.
Yeah.
I think he's fine, but yeah.
Yeah. These things happen.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then their tour manager, is that what he is?
Yeah, Brian St. Clair.
Yeah, who was in Local H, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so
Something happened.
something happened. I don't know if Dax missed a flight, whatever. And then it's like, hey, you got to play drums. And I saw his post was hilarious. He goes, I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad it's over.
Yeah.
And I totally understood what he meant. It was just like, probably it was nerve wracking, but it was awesome.
Yeah. Well, they don't. Yeah. Who knows? I would love to have seen that show.
Yeah.
That would have been funny.
Right.
Just to see, because like I know we always talk about this. Like I sometimes I'll look at the set list just for fun online and go, I could do that gig right now. Like I could do this gig right now. Like if they call me, you got to do this right now, I could do this like immediately. But that's just me. I don't know if their tour manager grew up, like I say, like they're my number one band.
Right.
Like I could do that. Anything. There's not a song I don't know. I don't think there's not one of them.
Right.
But I don't know how hard that is for someone that knows them but never did it.
Yeah. Or if you've been on the road with them and you hear the set night after night after night, and you're a drummer and you're a fan, I'm sure you.
Yeah. But it's weird that, well, whatever. I mean, we can talk about Cheap Trick forever, but it is a weird gig because it's heavy, but it's not.
Right.
Like there's a certain kind of rock drummer, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
No, I agree.
Something,
yeah, I agree.
Like I think some people would misinterpret the gig and think that it's heavier than it is.
Right.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, that's why Dax does such a great job of just like, he's got that bounce to his playing.
Right.
You know?
That's the thing.
It's kind of like, when you just look at Bun playing and he just looks like, chopping wood, and it's like that kind of thing. Like, yep. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Play some songs.
Yeah. It's not.
It's not, we're going to go out there and crush it tonight, bro. It's not that.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's not a sweaty mess working hard.
Right.
It just makes it look like it ain't, like there's nothing to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Killer. Yeah. Well, you never know. I guess you never know. You'd do that gig.
You never know.
Oh,
of course. Yeah. God.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
I mean, I saw Cheap Trick, their first show after the pandemic. I hate saying that word. It's so stupid. But anyway, which was in Connecticut. And it was Rick, Dax, Robin, and then Robin Jr. playing bass.
I was there. We went.
Oh, did I see you there?
We went together.
Oh, we went together.
All of us.
Oh, okay. So
at the casino.
Yeah.
Right.
So pretend you weren't there.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, to see it, and I'm watching it as a dad. I'm watching it going, these are two guys, Rick and Robin, with their kids. Like, how cool is that? And I understood too in that moment. I go, well, no wonder Eddie Van Halen wanted his son on bass.
Why not?
Whatever the issues were with Michael, but like, he's been playing with his brother his whole life.
Yeah.
And then he's got his son in the band. Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
How great is that?
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a family band.
Right.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I saw that. And then I saw him again, and Tom wasn't back yet. I saw him one more time.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw him with Tom since.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're out there.
Yeah.
Doing something. Them and Heart are playing.
Yeah.
I got, they're at Red Rocks, and I have a nephew that lives out there. I might, maybe.
Oh, you gotta go.
I might.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Cheap Trick, I mean, they should be headlining, Giant Stadium, but
Sure.
they're the ultimate opener, like any rock band could bring them on tour.
Sure.
And it works. Like
Yep.
Stone Temple Pilots brought them
Yeah,
back
yeah,
out in
yeah.
the day. And it's like, yeah, because they're just great. They're a
Yep.
rock band.
Yep.
If you know them, you're super psyched. Even if you don't, even if you only know I Want You to Want Me, you're just going to have a great time.
Totally. Well, don't you think too? I think a lot of those bands are fans, and then plus, you just know that like you got to be on your toes. It's got to make you feel like you got to bring your, I hate to say A game. I just said it. You can bring your A game,
bro.
Yeah, exactly. And but just knowing that like, okay, these guys are here,
Yeah,
and they're going to be great.
Yeah, Robin Zander's going to sing for an hour.
Yeah,
and then you're going to go out.
Yeah. Killer.
Yeah.
So funny. All right. What else?
I don't know.
We got a ways
you
to go.
invited me. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. Well, where did we've talked on the phone and you go, oh yeah, we got to talk about
Yeah,
this
I know.
and
No, I
that.
can't remember.
And then it's like, yeah, what was that?
No, I can't remember.
Not Garage Doors. We're not talking about that.
Oh God. They never came.
Oh, they did?
Nope. Or they came. They couldn't get their box truck up the driveway.
Oh, okay.
They got to reschedule.
Because your snowblower died.
Yep.
Yeah. See, this is turning into one of our phone conversations.
Yeah, this is
now.
stupid. Yeah, no one needs to hear this. This is stupid.
Yeah. Oh, I'm doing something fun. Next month, at the Cutting Room. So, Rick Allen and his wife Lauren Monroe have this organization called Raven Drum Foundation, and so they do. It's a charity organization, and they raise money for people with like PTSD and trauma, and so I did an event with them 2 years ago in Newport Beach, and so it's myself. Todd Zuckerman, Shannon Larkin from Godsmack, Alvin Taylor, who's amazing, Denny Sywell, Matt Sorum. I'm going to forget some people, but Franklin Vanderbilt. And so we did this drum circle. So, I got invited to do this, and I said, well, I'm going to be there, know. Drum circle, whatever.
Sure.
It was such an amazing, profound experience. And, Lauren she did like a meditation first and, set the intention and went through this whole thing. It was an incredible experience. And there were a lot of, first responders and vets and different people there.
Cool.
And then there were donors there. So it's like a fundraising thing. And, it was just a really incredible experience. And it was one of those things like, okay, all those guys are going there. I'm invited. Sure, I'm going to go. And then what I got out of it was just so much more than I had ever
that's cool.
imagined. So now they're doing an event. When Billy Amendola was there, and Billy was editor at Modern Drummer for years and just the unofficial mayor of New York, just knows everybody. And so now they're doing one at the Cutting Room. I don't know when this is going to come out, but March 14th.
Yeah.
And so it's like the East Coast guys, but Keltner's going to be there.
Oh.
Peter Criss.
Oh boy.
Simon Kirk.
My new hero.
Yeah. Yep. Sean Pelton. Corky Lang from Mountain.
Oh boy.
And again, I'm forgetting. The list is pretty long.
Wow.
But I'm excited. I'm looking forward to that.
That's cool.
And it's for a great cause. That's, all those rock stars there. And a lot of music and stuff, but it's a really cool experience.
Wow. Yeah, that's heavy. Yeah. I mean, Keltner's one of my main guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And he went to the last, they did one in Montana and I didn't go. And it was a smaller thing. And it was like Keltner, Sorum was there, and then Nikki Sixx, who has a place out there, he showed up.
Oh,
it was like this small group. I was like, oh, I should have gone.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
So everybody's going to play?
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do. If we're going to do like, I guess they said All-Star Jam, so I'm assuming there's going to be a band. Yeah, because there were some singers listed.
Yeah.
And Christine was listed, or she was talked about, but then I didn't see her on the flyer. I'm not sure she's going to do it or not. So that'll be...
Liberty.
Oh, Liberty's there too. Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
So so it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that does sound cool. That's wild.
Yeah, and it was interesting too because people told stories and stuff, and some of the vets told stories, and which were just like mind blowing. And then, but Rick told his story, and it's like I never thought of it as a kid. It's like, okay, I'm in the Def Leppard. He's in a car accident, lost his arm, and you just go, oh my God, that's terrible. But as a, what was I, 15? Just can't really even fathom
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
And then it's like, next thing is you see him in a video playing the snare drum with his left foot, and you're like, oh, and he's smiling, and you're like, awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It worked out. Great.
Huh.
But the trauma that he must have gone through, to have one of your limbs taken off, and you're a drummer.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, so obviously it's a very, personal thing to him.
Yeah, right.
But just to hear his story, I just saw it in a, much more human way, other than being a fan of the band or him and a drummer, and being like, well, wow, it has a happy ending, right? Because like you're in your band, you're rocking out. And it's like, well, yeah, but
yeah, right.
There's the processing of it as a person,
That's kind of, I'm sure there's got to be tons of material available on this, like people talk about or read about, but when you think about it, like major props to the band for being like, no.
Right.
We'll stick with it. We'll stick with you.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's going to have to be like electronic though. Fine.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we'll do that.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I mean, they must have been really tight. I mean, it's not like they were going to throw them out of the band, but still.
Well, and I mean, those guys started, they were teenagers.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like, talk about just like an amazing story, and they get
crazy.
Brought out by AC/DC back in the day, and they're kids, and they're learning from the best, and they're managed by Q Prime, which is not Metallica's management, everybody, but I mean, they really just, and they stepped up, and it's, they ended up doing records with Mutt Lange and going to this electronic drum sound anyway.
Oh, right.
So
before
then
they just
that,
went way
I mean,
in.
because the Pyromania record was all those samples and all that sound. So it's like, okay.
So pour some sugar on me. We'll just go. We'll just do it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, that is wild. I mean, like I say, I'm not like they were like going to like kick him out of the band, but you just think that's the whole gig. They're like, well, we'll just be a different band now.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, it's amazing. And he's got electronic kit, and I think he plays real cymbals.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's got that mix of sounds.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's wild. That should be wild. Yeah, you got to tell me. Call me on the way home.
Why don't you just go?
Yeah, or that.
Yeah.
That's a thought too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Uh-oh. Junior's like,
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying.
All right. We'll talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that would be a gas. Yeah, I played a gig over the summer with Liberty on. It was cool.
Right.
Yeah, it was wild. It was wild.
Yeah, watch him just get up and
do
his thing.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned this either, but if I mentioned this since then, but Dom Famularo was there too.
Mm-hmm.
One of the last times he passed away, like weeks after that, and he was there. I had no idea. Him and Lib were like hanging out. I didn't even go over and say hi. I wanted to, but I didn't want to bother them because they kind of had a thing going.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think I should. It was funny because I messaged him and he never messaged me back, which was fine. But I just said, hey, I wanted to say hi the other night. I didn't want to bug you. And
right.
I never heard back from him. And then he messaged me back and said, oh, yeah, oh, hey, you sounded great. And then he passed away like 2 days later.
Right.
And I remember talking to Christine about it. She goes, that's so him. Like he just followed up on all his correspondence and loose ends and just said, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's revealing too much, but it was just funny. I was like, oh, hey, that's cool. He answered me back. And then he was gone. So pretty wild.
Yeah. Yeah. I was at an event at the NAMM show, and it was a memorial for him and just guys telling stories. And it was it was a few tears, but it was a lot of laughs.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it was his nephew, and he was like, if anyone in here knows Dom, he's like, you did not want to tell him some idea you had. Because then he would call you every day after and say, hey, did you do that thing? Did you get started on the thing? And he had this idea to do a film. And he's like, Dom would call him every day. Did you get it? You got to do some stuff. And he just was like, but that was Dom, just like the cheerleader for everybody.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. No, that's wild. Yeah, I wish, I didn't really get to talk to him. I wish I did. But, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a great legacy. And, and the thing is too, I realize, the more, people I meet in the industry and, it's all kind of work related, but these guys are really exceptional people. They're not perfect people, not in every way. They don't have it all figured out, but like, someone like Dom, it's like, that's a unique character. It's a unique kind of person.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about that. Yeah, I guess, I don't want to say it's the end of an era or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, one of a kind for sure.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, nobody like him,
Yep. There was one other thing. You interviewed Don Randy. Out at the show.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
That was great. Yeah, so my buddy Joe Sanborn. So Joe and Miles Mangino had a studio called Planet of Sound.
Oh, yeah.
In Hartford.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I had my band The Flames, we had recorded there.
Yep.
And then they were, for a while, WHCN, which was one of the rock stations, they would do a live remote from there. So Tesla would come into town and they'd go over there and then they'd simulcast live.
Yeah. And Junior would be there waiting already.
Right, with a pile of records. Yeah. And, there you go.
See?
And so, I've just stayed in touch with Joe, and then Joe was at Telefunken for several years, and then he went to Behringer, and he was, worked under Uli Behringer, who owned the company. And so I was in LA, was 2007, 8.
Yeah.
Hadn't seen him. I'm at Amoeba, the big record store, and I look and I go, Joe. He's like, Matt, hey. We're like, oh my God, what have you been doing? I hadn't seen him in 10 years. I said, I got a band called the Automatic Music Explosion. We're going to play on Friday. You should come out. Okay, so he goes out. Then I don't see him again for like 3 years.
Oh, boy.
And we catch up. What's going on? He goes, oh, yeah, and my wife, Kim. And he goes, yeah, and I've been meaning to tell you. He goes, remember that? You invited me out to that show? He's like, we met at your show.
Hey.
And they're.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's kind of wild.
And away they go. So, what preceded this? Why did I start saying this?
I started with Don Randy.
Yes. So now Joe's with this company X5, and when I got the Kicks gig, before that he said, I'm with this company. They make really good in-ears. Would you check them out? And I've been using another like well-known company. I said, yeah, sure. And they were great. Oh, yeah. And he's like, do you do gigs with in-ears? And I'm like, well, I just got one actually. Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna try them out. So I'd done some promos for him and stuff. And then, so he had me come out to NAMM. So, okay. And then, can you get somebody to play with you? Like, maybe a guitar player. And I was like, yeah, what about Phil X? He goes, that'd be great. So we did Phil. And then like 2 weeks before he goes, hey, I don't know if you'd be interested in this, but Don Randy has been like checking out some of our stuff. Would you be interested in interviewing him? I said, definitely. Yes, absolutely.
For sure.
And he goes, he's got a long history. He worked with Phil Spector, and I'm like,
yeah, I know who did. Yeah.
And so, and then like a couple days later, he goes, what about Sylvia Massey? He goes, would you want to interview her? And I was like, yes, I would.
Yes, I would.
So so that was great. And in talking to Don, Don's awesome, man. He's he's just smiling and just remembers everything.
Wow.
And then you ask him a question, and he goes, oh yeah, so like, and I didn't want to like tell me about Be My Baby, tell me about I didn't like drill down on those things. Sure. I asked him about Brian Wilson, and I said, what were he brought up Pet Sounds and stuff, and then he said, what were your first impressions of Brian? He goes, genius.
Wow.
I said like immediately. He goes, he goes, he walked in, he knew exactly what he wanted. He was really young, he was completely clear on what he wanted to do. He goes, I totally trusted him.
Yeah, that's killer.
And but he'll say like, yeah, and then, so Brian, like, so he asked me to play this, and he starts playing God Only Knows. And he goes, but then I added this, and he, every story is accompanied by him playing some music that he played on,
Crazy.
So, that was great. I liked talking to him about, we've talked about this, but how, they'd make a record, and then in 3 weeks it's on the radio.
Yeah.
And so I said, how was that for you, where you could play something and then hear it on the radio, and then would that influence how you did your next session, where you went like, oh, I did that thing, or I did it in a way and it's not cutting through, and he goes, it was amazing, because we could really just like just keep calibrating as
Yeah,
you
yeah,
went
yeah.
along, you know.
Yeah.
And he was one of those guys, 3 sessions a day,
Yeah, right.
7 days a week,
Crazy.
you know. Yeah,
It's pretty crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, that must have been wild. A crazy time. I remember I almost did gigs with him. He was coming here.
Right.
And Christine put me on the radar, and I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And then somehow or other, I don't know if he what the word was. I think it was Vic put me up to it, but I don't think I passed. Something happened, and I didn't get the gig. And I was like, "Oh," but I talked to him. He was really cool,
Yeah.
really nice.
Great.
And but Christine did the gig, and then she told me later, she goes, you know, it was a real heavy jazz gig, and he brought in his guy.
Yeah.
She goes, no offense, but it wouldn't have been your thing. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine, because I'm not much of a jazz player.
Right.
I didn't feel bad, but she was like, it was more of a jazz gig, more so than I thought, because I thought, oh great, we're gonna play all Phil Spector tunes, and she said it was kind of heavy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, not that I couldn't have done it, but he knew that his guy. He just flew somebody in that just
Right.
did the gig. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
but almost. But
Mhm.
I'm kind of glad, because I wouldn't.
You wouldn't want to meet him under those terms.
I wouldn't want to let him down. You know,
Right.
that's a thing. And
Yeah.
you know, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I'm at that level
Yeah.
as a jazz player.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
so-
And we talked about, you know, I asked him because he started the baked potato, which is,
right.
and for years,
Crazy.
I just kind of gotten out of it. But when I would say to somebody, oh, I'm going to the baked potato, I would say the Hungry Tiger.
Yeah. Right.
Because
right.
they're kind of the same,
Same
place. You know
yeah.
what I mean? That's kind of where like the musos would go and jam
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that stuff. And he opened that in, I think, 70. And I said, you know, why, you know, what brought you to do that? And he goes, well, you know, because really, we would play in sessions all day. He goes, but I'm playing, you know, dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun.
right.
He goes, but I want to play. And he started doing all this jazz stuff. And he goes, you know, we wanted a place where we could just go hang out.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
goes,
yeah.
so I opened that. And it's still the spot. So if Steve Lukather is
Yeah.
doing something, he's going to play there. You know, Jeff Babcock's going to do something, he's going to play there. So it's still going strong, and his son, you know, is taking it over, and he's doing great.
That's wild. I never actually knew that till we had that conversation. I didn't realize. I mean, I know about the baked potato, but I didn't realize that was Don Randy's spot.
Yeah,
That's wild.
yeah. And I just said thanks because, you know, every time I go there, it
Right.
sounds amazing. I've seen so many amazing.
And now you know
players.
why, because it's like the Cats made the place.
It's definitely a music first
Yeah,
kind of venue.
killer. That's killer.
Yep.
We're almost there. I don't remember what your old answers were, so either give the same answers or different ones.
Sure.
You know, desert island albums, some that you could.
How many?
I know,
We get
yeah.
to bring
Right.
like a milk crate
Yeah,
or
yeah,
just
yeah.
under my arm.
Yeah, I know.
You
Well,
know, Kiss Alive.
sure. Some musicians are not into music like we are, which is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really 50-50.
Right.
I mean, that's fine. Not everybody is, you know, obsessed with music, but I know you are.
Yeah.
And I definitely am. Junior is.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd probably bring
Davis, of course.
yeah, an Everly Brothers record.
Yeah.
That was episode 9.
Episode 9?
Yes.
So
Holy crow.
right before number 9.
Yeah.
I'm sure we did that.
Far out.
Yeah. So Kiss Alive. Yeah. Everly Brothers record. I'd probably bring the Sex Pistols,
Sure.
Bullocks. Well, then I have to bring a Ramones. See, this is getting out of hand.
Yeah.
Probably Physical Graffiti.
Sure.
And probably the White Album. I could take any Zeppelin and be happy, but
Yep.
I like having the double album.
Sure.
And the same thing with the White Album, which
Yeah.
is my favorite also, but it's got,
Right.
you know, you get more music.
Yeah.
Counts as one record.
Yeah, me too.
So, yeah, I think I'd be pretty good with that. There's probably something I'm forgetting.
Yeah, yeah.
Free record would be good. And
Live at Leeds. Maybe,
yeah,
perhaps.
yeah, if I could bring the new extended
Yeah.
version that I had with 3 albums, yeah.
God.
Get all the Tommy there.
At Budokan.
Oh, right, yeah, that's got to go there. And Aerosmith live bootleg, so.
And Get the Knack.
And Get the Knack.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now I don't know how many they're going to let me bring.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy. Desert island food.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't even asking these questions then. Was I? On episode 9, what was I doing? I don't even remember.
Yeah, well,
If I had my questions together.
Desert Island food. I'd bring blue cheese. Because
Really?
I definitely want to have that.
Huh.
So if I can kill something and get some meat going then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Blue cheese.
Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah.
Far out. I have a new question. Was there any show or concert that you saw that totally changed your trajectory? Like, boom. What show had the most impact on you?
I don't know, changed anything. It just solidified. It was, my first concert, Kiss, 1979. Judas Priest opened it up, and they were still in makeup. And yeah, I didn't know what to expect, but it was awesome. And then the next concert was my cousin took me to see the Moody Blues.
Oh, wow.
And the lights went out, and I stood up, and I was like, yeah. And then, like, nobody's standing up. They're just all sitting down smoking pot. And I was like, okay. So I sat back down, and then they had like a palm tree on stage or something, and I'm kept waiting for
You
it
sure
to
it wasn't a marijuana tree?
right, well, maybe.
No.
But I kept waiting for it to like shoot sparks or explode. And it's like, no, we just play music and people clap. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So again, that Kiss show just like was definitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just having a tree on stage ain't gonna cut it
No, not for me.
unless someone lights it on fire or something.
Right.
Right.
Coconut falls out of
Yeah,
it.
Junior was there.
Yeah.
That tree wouldn't have lasted very long.
And I'll say too, I saw the Who in 2018, I think, with Zach on drums. And I haven't watched a drummer. I mean, Pete Townsend was also on stage.
Yeah.
And so was Roger, and I haven't watched a drummer all night like that. Like he
Really?
just,
Hey, that's cool.
so much personality.
Yeah.
Just ballsy choices,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Like he, there was songs he just like, and Who Are You? He stopped in the verse for like a measure, like nothing, and on purpose.
Wow.
And I was just like, oh my God, that was amazing.
That's
So,
pretty cool.
yeah, it was pretty inspiring watching him.
Yeah, right.
Watching him play.
So he makes it his own.
Yeah, and really and embodies the spirit of Keith, because that is,
that's the
so he
thing.
gets all the things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like really. He's listening and just creating. It's not just playing the parts. And I'm sure it's different every night.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. That would be a gig. That'd
That would be.
insane.
Yeah. Well, that's, Scott Devour. So Scott was playing with Roger Daltrey.
Gotcha.
And he got a call in the afternoon. Hey, we can't find Zach. So.
Oh, that's right. I remember
So
doing
you got to get, I think it was to
Holy
San Diego
crow.
or something. And he's like, okay. And he's like, I need a copy of the show. Like, get me a link, something, anything. And then so, either he drove down or his tech drove him down. He's listening, gets a sound check, does the thing. And then Pete pulls him aside in the room and he goes, can you do this?
Oh, boy.
He goes, because we can cancel the show. Like, and he just goes, I can promise you there won't be any train wrecks. And Pete goes, okay.
Wow.
So they do the show. Oh, and he said there was a snare drum there. And the tech said, don't touch this drum. He goes, if you need it adjusted, let me know, but don't touch it. He goes, okay. Whatever.
Why?
Maybe that's what he's thinking. Okay, whatever. Plays the show, stands up, puts his arm in the air, looks down, snare drum's gone. So that was a gift from Ringo to Zach.
Oh, boy.
And I believe it was the one that he tracked a lot of the Beatles stuff with.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then he was like afterwards, like, well, this was amazing. Thank you, you guys. I had an incredible experience.
So the tech just takes it and puts it in a sarcophagus immediately.
Exactly. And then puts that in a sarcophagus.
Yeah,
A bigger
right.
sarcophagus.
Right.
And
Good Lord.
so he's like, this was amazing, you guys. Thank you. And they're like, what are you saying? You got to get on the bus. We got another show tomorrow night. And he did. I don't know how many shows he did, but he
Really?
kind of kept going. Yeah.
Whatever happened to Zach? Can we say, or we don't know?
He just disappeared for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Whoa.
he came back.
That's crazy.
So, yeah.
So don't even
look at it.
Don't look at it. Don't touch the
Don't
drum.
touch
Don't look at it.
Yeah.
And you just say, can you tighten the snares?
Yeah. If you want to higher or lower, just tell me. I'll do it.
Whoa.
Don't get your greasy fingers on it.
Wow, that's crazy. So
Yeah.
that we can count the number of fingers that have touched this thing.
Yeah, right.
And we want to keep it that way.
Right. Yeah, there's a Keith Moon thumbprint on the side. And,
That's crazy. Wild. All right. Hey, we made it.
Yeah.
We made it.
All right.
We made it. Thanks for coming, though. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we've been talking
'cause-
about it.
Yeah, because we've been due for another one. And then we'll probably talk tonight later.
Right, and review, and then you go, oh, I should ask you this.
Oh, well, you know what? All we can do is try our best. You know what I mean?
That's it.
All right. I'm going to press the button. John Best Jr. is here.
In
Not
the
only in
house.
spirit, but actually he's over there.
Yeah, Taylor Hawkins shirt
Yep. There he is. Dave Kosminski, of course,
with a
Is-
NAMM shirt.
also here. Yep. And Matt Starr was here. Matt Starr was here again. From show number 9 to whatever this is. 150 something.
Woo!
Right? Crazy.
Huge.
Yeah, man. There's no stopping me. Jon Peckman Podcast. Can't give out school music. Then come over to Bridge, go through 1 satellites. Pull a UE, park in front of the music store with the red neon light. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, like and subscribe. Be on the show with me. Have your very own podcast. Dave will tell you how right now. Matt Starr, thank you.
Thank you.
We will see you next time.
Bye.
That is all.
If you'd like to start your own podcast, give us a call at Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Our professionally designed podcast space is here for all your recording needs. Rent out our studio to do interviews with up to 4 people, to record audiobooks, social media content, and all other recorded material. Our rentals include a private studio along with our professional-grade podcasting equipment, and we can customize your output to whatever your needs are. We also have green screen capabilities, which will expand to video capability if you so wish. So check us out here at ConnValley.net/podcast.